Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to create a Google site using your Chromebook, and I'm actually using a Chromebook right now, so this should exactly mirror the student experience. So you go to Google, and you're just going to go to www. Sorry, you're just going to go to www.google.com. And you should be signed in. I don't know why it's not signed in, but anyway, you go to the waffle and you should be able to find Google Sites here. If you don't see Google Sites in the choice menu, click More from Google. And then you're going to go down to, just go down to where the apps are around here, Google Products. And you're going to hit Control F and you're going to put in sites and it should come up. So there it is, sites. So click on that and you will see that you are synced with your Google account. If you're not synced, you just click up here and make sure that you're synced with your Google account. It should automatically sync you because you're on a Chromebook and that's really the only account that you're allowed to use. So these are student portfolios from different students from the past. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a new one. So go to the blank. It may be very tempting to pick student portfolio or another one of the templates from the template gallery, but it's actually a lot easier to pick blank. So that's what you're going to do. If you have a Google site from last year, so if you have a Google site that you started last year, you're not going to be creating a new Google site. You will be using the same one, but you'll be adding pages to it. So I'm going to click on a student website from last year and just show you what I'm talking about. So I will pick Angel Serrano's. And so this is Angel Serrano's Google site. And what you're going to do is, you see how he's got this nice Google site. He's got a footer down here, which has some thumbnails. It says Conversations of Consequence. This is his homepage. But what you're going to do is you're going to be adding editors. So if you had a Google site from junior year that you used in video production, or you had a Google site from sophomore year that you used in Foundations of Production and Design, or you had a Google site from junior year that you used in visual design, if you are in that category, open up your Google site and go to Share with Others. And you're going to add in additional editors. Okay. So what you're going to do is, the general access should say that the draft is restricted. Only people with access can open the link, and those are the editors. And the published site should be public, but with the public only being able to view your website, not edit it. And this would be true no matter what. Those are the settings that you should have. Okay, public for published and restricted for draft. Now, you're going to add in some other editors. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to add in Miss Makia as an editor. So Miss Makia should be an editor. Okay, Mr. Let's see, Miss Badir should be an editor. Okay, Mr. Worthley should be an editor. Okay, because there's so now Miss Otero should be an editor. Okay, and Badir, Worthley, Otero, and Winneberg. Okay. So I am already an editor because I'm Mrs. Winneberg. So you can't add me in as an editor because I'm already an editor on this website. What you should also do is you should add your personal Gmail account in as an editor as well. In other words, if you have a Gmail account that you're using to apply to colleges or apply for jobs, it's an actual Gmail account. So that you created outside of school, you would add that account in as an editor as well. And the reason why you have to do that is because after you graduate, you're going to lose access to your paps.net account, but you're still going to probably want to be able to edit your website. So you add in a personal account as an editor. Last year, we had students create the Google site under their personal account. And the reason why we did that is so that they could, retain ownership of the account after they graduated. And then they added their paps.net account in as an editor. You can't do that if you're creating it you can no longer do that if you're creating it on a Chromebook because the Chromebook won't let you log in under a personal account anymore because that was abused in the past by other students. But this should work fine. Don't forget to add in your personal Gmail account as an editor. I will add in mine just to show you. But the personal Gmail account, this is my home account, Rachel HW1966 at gmail.com. But if you're a student, you should be adding in your own personal Gmail account as an editor. Okay? And then you're going to hit send. And it will notify the other people that they've been added in as editors. But notice it says you're sharing to Rachel HW1966 at gmail.com, who's not in the Google Workspace organization this item belongs to, and you're going to hit share anyway. That notification will pop up when you're sharing to your own personal Gmail account. So that's going to come up and you're going to hit share anyway. So it does allow students to share with, let's see, it says access updated. So if I go here to share with others, it's going to show that Angel Serrano is an editor, the owner, that all these people are now editors. So these are just the teachers. And you can see that it added in the outside account as an editor, which is good. That's what we want. So now we're going to hit done. And that's done. And now you're going to see under pages. So if you had started this website as a sophomore or a junior, there's 2 pages that you need to add to it. One is the blog page, and the other is the Senior Capstone page. So we're going to be talking about all this, and I'm going to show you how to create an account from the very ground up. But anyone who has already created a website, please do not delete anything from the portfolio page. What you're going to do is you want to have stuff from the portfolio page from sophomore and junior year. Keep it in there. But when you add in new stuff from senior year, instead of adding it to the bottom chronologically, you're going to add it to the top. So it'll be in reverse chronological order. A lot of people last year made the mistake of deleting old material. And we don't want you to do that because this website is kind of showing your development over the years. So what we want, let me just go to Angel's portfolio, is we want to see stuff in reverse chronological order. So he's got photographs, and it says, so I think that that's something he does on his own, as he does photography. But I'll show you let me just go back. I'm going to go back again, and I'll show you another student that has stuff from both sophomore and junior year, and we want them to keep all that stuff. So I'm going to go to Roberto Santiago's website. He's not a Khan Academy student, but I did teach him 2 years in a row. So he was in my advanced design class as a senior, and as a junior, he was in my computer animation class. So if I go here, you can see he's got his pages, and you can see that he's got, he doesn't have a capstone page because he wasn't a Khan Academy student, but he does have a blog page, and then he separated his portfolio into artwork and animation. So what he did was he put his most recent animations at the top, and his earlier animations that he did as a junior, he put lower down. So these are things that he did as a junior, and you can see this was like one of the first animations he did for me, and it's down here, and then he's got some character sheets. But his very most recent animation, the one that you're going to see when you go to the All-American High School Film Festival, is at the very top. So it's, you want to highlight your most recent and your best work, but you don't want to delete the stuff that you did as a junior and sophomore, because you want to show your progress as you grew as an artist. So don't get rid of that stuff. Okay, so now let me show you how to actually go ahead and start your Google site. So again, you don't see it here. You go to More from Google. You scroll down until you get to the apps. You do Control F and you put in Sites. You hit Enter and Sites will immediately pop up and you click on it. Okay, so here I am. I've got Google Sites. My first objective is to create a blank site. That's all I'm doing right now. Create a blank site. Now, your next objective is to go here, and I'm going to call this site Rachel Wintenberg Capstone Sample. Okay, so this is my sample site, and it gives you the option of adding a logo. So you can add a logo from your desktop. You can create a logo. You can have it in your saved items. Let's see. Upload. Okay, so let's see what happens if I add this from my saved items. Okay, so I added this little GIF that I created from my saved items. All right, so there it is, just this weird little GIF. But you can add your own logo, and now it's got a name. And now that I've actually made some alterations to the site, I'm going to, I've given my site a title. I'm going to call this the home page or welcome page. Okay, and you can change the font. So let's see. You don't want to make it too scripty. Don't use Comic Sans because it's frowned upon in the art world. So I would keep to like a very straightforward font that is, easy to read. So I just picked this one. And you can also change the background, and I would. So what I like to do is, it says change image, and you can create a banner image, or you can select an image. So So, under select image, they give you a lot of default choices, and they're all pretty good. You can also just hit search and put in something like black, and it'll find you an image that's just black, and that's also a thing you can do. If you have an image that you created, or you want to create an image on your own, just a little photo collage, that's also a fun thing to do, and you can do that and add it in here. And if you want help doing that, you can do that. You can always change the image also. Anyway, so I have started to create my welcome page. I'm now going to go to pages, and I'm going to add in about me page. Done. I got my home page, my about me page, and then I'm going to add in a new page called portfolio, and then another page called Senior Capstone, and then another page called blog. So now you have all the basics of what you need for your website. But now you have to share your editing privileges with the teacher. Okay? So now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to look here. And it says here the draft will be restricted, and the published site will only be viewable to the Perth Amboy Board of Education. That needs to be changed. It must be public. And that is extremely important, because if you ever published your site and you needed it to be seen by anybody outside of Perth Amboy, like let's say it was one of the sites that was selected as one of the finalists, none of the adjudicators will be able to see it. And also, let's say you do a really good job on your website and you want to use it to apply for a job as a video editor or graphic designer or anything else, or you wanted to add it into part of your college application, you might think that it was visible, but nobody else will be able to open it. So it's very important that you change the published site to public and the draft stays as restricted. And then you need to start adding people and groups. The most important person to add is yourself from an outside Gmail account, because otherwise, after you graduate, you could lose access to your website and not be able to edit it anymore. Then you need to add in all the capstone teachers: Worthley, Taro, Badir, Hindenburg, okay, Makia, and Worthley. So now I'm going to hit send. And it's going to ask you about your personal Gmail account. You hit send anyway. And then if you go here, you should be able to see that you are, or that your personal account already has access. Okay, so let me just check that. Yes. Okay. So it's been shared with the appropriate people to start with, and now you're going to go to the portfolio page, and you're going to need to start putting in things into your portfolio. Now, that is a little bit tricky, because a lot of the stuff that you have in your portfolio is either you turned it into other teachers that you want to put in your portfolio. It's either been turned into other teachers, or it's restricted, that if you tried to add it in here, you'd be able to see it, but nobody else would be able to see it. So that has to be solved. So let me go into that issue. And this is an ongoing problem that we've had with students. So now I'm going to go to Google Drive. Okay. and I'm going to search in Drive. And what I'm going to search for is, let me just go up to the search button. Good. So the type is, I'm going to initially search for videos. And the videos should be, you know what, let me just put owner anyone, because if you turn a video into a teacher, it'll look like it's that teacher's video. So I'm going to hit videos, owner anyone, and hit search. Okay, now these are all videos. Some of them are owned by me, and some of them are owned by students. But let's say I want to put these videos into my portfolio. There's a way to do it. So what you're going to do is, you don't want to take the original videos and put them into the portfolio. You want to, because you don't know who has access, who doesn't. So what you're going to do is you're going to do new, and you're going to do new folder, and you're going to create a folder, and that folder is going to be your first name, your last name, and the word portfolio. Now, if you already created a portfolio folder last year, just use that folder. You can create a subfolder inside it, but you don't need to create a new folder. Just use the same portfolio folder. So these directions are only for people who never had a dedicated folder for all the stuff that was going on their website last year. Those are the people who need to do this. Okay, and then you can further call it Capstone. All right, this is very important that you do it in this format with your name first. Don't just call the folder portfolio, because if you share it, and I'm doing a search for it, about a zillion portfolio folders come up. Whereas if you put your first and last name and then you share it with me, I can find your portfolio folder pretty easily because your name came first, okay? So make sure you name it that way. You're going to hit create, and you've now created a portfolio folder. Okay, so let's locate that folder. There it is. Okay, now your next step is you need to share it, okay? Now, here is how you're going to share it. Right now, it says it is restricted. You must make it so that anyone with a link can see this portfolio, but as a viewer. And then you're going to add in editors. Okay, again, same group of people. Worthley, Botero, Wittenberg, Macchia, Deer, Worthley. And don't forget, you're also going to add in your home Gmail address so that you are also an editor. And that way, after you graduate, you will still retain access to this folder and be able to edit it. So everybody's now had that portfolio shared with them. Okay, so now here's what you're going to do. I'm going to search in Drive for not just any, but videos. Okay? I'm not going to worry about who the owner is. I'm just going to hit search. And if there's videos that I want to put into this folder, I'm going to click on them, but I'm not going to move them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the control key, and I'm going to very surgically pick which videos. So as long as I hit the control key, I can make absolutely sure that I'm only picking those videos. So I keep the control key down, and you can already see there's some duplicates of some of these videos. I don't want the duplicates. So I'm just going to click on them. Okay, so now I've got these videos, and I'm going to make copies of them. So what you're going to do is you're going to press down with 2 fingers in the middle of your keypad, and then you're going to hit make a copy. And it says it's copying 8 files and they're copied. So where do you find them? Instead of looking for each one separately, you just go to recent and you will see all the new videos. So you click on the last one, you hold the shift key down and click on the first one, and it will select all of them, but just the new videos. Then you're going to go to the middle of, hold on a sec. So again, I click on the last one, I hold the shift key down and click on the first one, and now I press the 2 fingers in the middle of my keypad, and then I'm going to hit move to, okay? And it's going to say my drive. Yes, that's where you go, my drive. And now all I have to do is I have to scroll through my folders. It might take a while, but I'm just going to use 2 fingers and just swipe down on my keypad until I find Portfolio Rachel Winterberg, and then I'm going to click on this little arrow at the end. And it says this folder's empty, and I'm going to click move here. And then it says move, and they all get moved into that new folder. So I didn't move the originals. 8 files have been moved to Portfolio Rachel Winterberg. So I didn't move the originals, I just moved the copies. That is very important, because if you move the originals, you're not sure who can see them, you're not sure who then loses access. You may not have permission to move the original because you may have already turned it into a teacher. So you make copies and then you move the copies. Now I'm going to go back to my new website, and I'm on my portfolio page, and I'm going to go to insert, okay? And I'm going to go to drive. And I'm going to go to my drive, and I'm going to find that portfolio folder. Here it is. I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to click on the first file, and then I'm going to go find the last file. I'm going to hit the shift key and click on the last file. That makes all of them selected, and then I just hit insert. And now everything is in my portfolio. All the videos that I wanted are now in my portfolio page. Now, at this point, I can add captions. I can do all sorts of stuff. But the beauty of it is, because I picked go to my drive, because I put everything into my portfolio folder, because I put everything into this folder, and because the sharing settings of this folder say that anyone with the link can view it, I know that I put all this stuff into my portfolio page. Everyone's going to be able to view it because I already fixed the sharing settings in the parent folder. That is very important, and it's something that a lot of kids mess up on. A lot of kids publish their Google site and people can't find their work, or they click on it, it says you don't have permission to view this. So that's very, very, very important. So everything here should be viewable. And now what you're going to do is you would add text boxes to explain it. But you also, if you have something that you're really proud of that you want to really highlight, you can also pull out the corner and enlarge it. You can change the layout. So I'm going to actually do that right now. I'm going to push this to the middle, and then I'm going to click on the corner, and I'm going to enlarge it. And then I'm going to actually recenter it. Okay, you see those little blue bars that appear on either side showing that it's centered. And now I want to add a text box. And I can take that text box and I can attach it so that if I move the video, the text box will also move with it. Okay, and now the other thing that you can do is, let's say there's one piece that you're particularly proud of, and somehow or another it got kind of, buried, and you want to put it to the top. You can actually click and drag and make it the top. Okay, so that's the top video, and then you could enlarge it, add a text box to it, etc. Now, in the text box, you would type in your description of the video. Now, this is very important. Most people just use the default, which is 11. That's way too small for a website. You want people, when you're looking for websites and you're surfing for information, or you're shopping for somebody to buy something from, or looking for somebody to hire, what's going to attract you is things like color and readability. So one of the things that you should do is you're going to change the color. So I'm going to go here to selection colors, and you go to image and then select image. And what I suggest is putting in a very sort of neutral background. Let me just go here. Something kind of dark, and making that background consistent throughout the whole page, so that it in general gives a very readable interface. What you don't want is a lot of distracting. You don't want anything very colorful or distracting in the background. So I think this won't be a terrible choice, because it would distract from your writing instead of adding to it. What I like to do is just hit search and then just type in black, and then just get a black background from the web. And if you do that consistently, this very nice sort of interface. So you have to do it for each section. So that's a little bit of a pain in the neck, but image, select image, that's what you want. Just hit search and then black. All right, so you can see how it gives this nice sort of, so now I have a text box here. I'm going to change the text size from 11 to, believe it or not, 18. I personally believe, and it's been my experience, that on a website, you don't want any text to be smaller than the size 18 font. If you make the text too small, people just simply aren't going to read it. They're going to be scrolling through. They're going to say, these are too many words. I can't read it. The text is too small. And they're going to go right to the next website. So the other thing I like to do is, when I'm captioning a video, I like to center it. So I'm going to center it. And I like this font. It's got a very plain, straightforward sans serif font. You don't want anything too scripty or too colorful. And I'm going to put I'm going to name the okay, so there's my caption. You can see 18 actually isn't that big a font. It's very reasonably sized, but a lot of people just use text that's way too small. All right, so this is basically how you would do your portfolio page. Now I'm going to go back to Google, and I'm going to go back to Drive, and I can go in here and I can do another search. So there we go. Okay, so that seems to be the bottom right-hand corner. If I click there, then the window pops up. But now I can pick photos and images and do the same sort of search, and copy them all, and then find them all in recents, and then move them to my portfolio folder. I can do the same thing with Google Docs if I want to embed in writing I've done. So again, with the Khan Academy, if you're in the video production, it would be probably your videos. If you're in the visual design section, it would probably be your photos and images. If you're in journalism or in international relations, it would probably be your writing. But so I'm going to pick out a few images here just real quick. And I'm going to hold my control button so I'm only selecting the images I want and not all the images. Then I'm going to use 2 fingers in the middle of my keypad, and I'm going to hit make a copy. When it says they're copied, I'm going to go to recent, and I know I picked 4 images. I pick the first one, I go, and I hold the shift key, pick the last one, and it'll select all the images in between. 2 fingers, center of my keypad, move to. So now you are repeating the exact same thing that you did before. You're moving them into this portfolio folder that you've already created, and that portfolio folder already has its sharing settings set to public. Actually, just go to Drive. There we go. Double click on the first one, hit the shift key, click on the last one, and you should be able to insert them. Now I can take them and I can move them anywhere else on the page. Be really careful about when you get near the bottom of the page that you don't accidentally create a footer. There's a little option where it could say create footer. Don't do that. And if you do create a footer, don't put any content from your portfolio page or any other page down in the footer. The footer is something that will appear on every single page of your website. And if you accidentally mess up and put portfolio content or other content down in the bottom footer, it's very, very hard, almost impossible to fix it and remove it later. So avoid making a footer completely for now. If you do make a footer, remember that anything in the footer will appear on every single page. So what you would put in the footer would be like maybe a link tree to like your Twitter page, your Instagram account, your YouTube channel, and those little icons can appear on every single page, but you wouldn't want to put anything else down there. So for now, please do not make a footer. Now, we've gone over the portfolio page. What do we put on the home page? So the home or the welcome page, basically going to explain to people what your website is all about. Here you will see my portfolio. I'm, from my time in the Communications Academy. So let me just go here to Leslie Hilarious. Say has a good welcome page, I feel. Hang on. Okay. Welcome to my site. Here you will learn about my interests, passions, goals, and ambitions. If you have any questions, you can reach me at and her email address. All right, so that's really it. It doesn't have to be very extensive. The About page. But notice it does include a photo, okay? It makes the website much easier to find if you include a photo of yourself. The About page has to contain a photo of yourself and just a little autobiographical blurb. So this is the About Me page. Who is Leslie? Hey everyone, my name is Leslie Hilario. I'm a senior at Perth Amboy High School. At Amboy High, I am currently Student Council President and National Honor Society Vice President. I'm also on the school's varsity cheer and track team. Something that I'm super passionate about is politics and social justice, and you'll see that as you get further in depth on my page. Other than that, I'm a super spontaneous person. I love last-minute plans, trying new things, and exploring the world around me. I like to create and film. It is my outlet where I let my creative juices flow. I'm hoping to do a lot of films for my capstone project. So now she's got the portfolio, which has her videos from junior and senior year. And then she's got her Senior Capstone project, which is actually, it ended up being a series of podcasts. So, and then she's got her blog, which is sort of her diary entries or her progress throughout the working on the capstone project. So that's it. That's basically what you need to do. You don't need to publish your site yet. You just need to create it, create the different pages, and share it with the appropriate teachers. And also with your personal website. You have to remember not to create a footer and not to put anything in the footer. And you also have to remember that anything you are putting in your website has to have the sharing settings of public to anyone on the web. Otherwise, your viewers won't be able to see any of your embedded material. And you also have to make sure that your sharing settings are such that the appropriate, you see right now it says draft, anyone with the link. That's not correct. You don't want anybody with the link to see the draft. You just want people to be able to see the public version. That way, if you make a mistake or whatever, as you're working out the problems, you don't want people to see as you're working on it. So the draft will be restricted to just the editors, and the published site will be public. So the default is Perth Amboy Board of Education, but you want it to be public. So those are the basic pitfalls and tips and tricks to creating a website. I hope you found this video useful. And anyone who has any questions, feel free to contact me. This is Mrs. Winenberg.